We are back and ready to go on another episode of Across Louisiana here in the capital city. Very pleased to welcome Warren Drake. He is the Superintendent of Schools here in Baton Rouge. New to the job, but not new to doing the job. And hello, Warren, how are you?
Hey, thank you, Jason.
I tell folks, next to Les Miles, you got about as much pressure to get us together here. How's it going?
It's going great. I've been on the job actually May 1st as a consultant. In June, I was acting superintendent. July 1, I took over. We have been visiting schools, visiting with students, reorganizing the central office to be more focused on student achievement in the classroom, and getting ready for school. 2 weeks from tomorrow, teachers come.
Wow. Wow. So you were in the East Baton Rouge Parish school system as an educator, as an administrator. Of course, everyone knows your story. You went to Zachary and the great success of the #1 schools for so many years in a row. What have you learned, and where do we start, and what are you going to do here in Baton Rouge?
Well, I consider myself a teacher. I taught for many years here in East Baton Rouge Parish, and I think the most important position we have is that teacher in the classroom. So we have to make sure that our teachers are very good and that we support them 100%. That's the most important thing. Leadership in that classroom, leadership on that campus with the principal is critical. But then we have to support them. Our philosophy in the school system is that we are support staff for those teachers and those principals in the schools.
That is great. You know, we've done some features where we followed some kids and their parents work various jobs. They may be cashiers at night. So they'll set 3 homes in the same neighborhood, their aunt, their grandmother at home, forget their work, no discipline. Is that something that, how are you going to address some of that?
Yeah, I think that the parents have to be the first and best teacher their children ever have. So we're going to work a little bit more with parents and make sure they are taking care of their kids in the home. Do they have a place to study? Just ask them about that. You know, parental involvement is not just running off copies in the school. It's taking care of their children at home. That's where we want them to be interactive with their kids, is in that home.
You know, I've heard you say one team, one mission in some of the briefs that you put out. Kind of explain what that means.
Well, Jason, it means that every person is critical to the success of our system. It means that the principal, the teacher, the custodian, the bus driver, the paraprofessional, the cafeteria worker, every person teaches our child. One team, one mission means we're all in this together. We can't do it by ourselves. We have to have everyone. And so what is our job? What is our why? Our why is we are building the future of Baton Rouge. So when you talk to one of these employees, doesn't matter who it is, they are building the future of Baton Rouge, all of us. And if we can all get that philosophy of we are one team, one mission, one culture on our campuses, then I think we can move forward exponentially. We have a lot of opportunity to do some great things in East Baton Rouge Parish, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, very excited to hear more about it. We also do features on the U.S. Marine Corps, and we went and they show us the technology, and they said one thing has never changed in the history of the military, the platoon size, because you can only have a sphere of influence over so many people. You've got to break things down. Is any of that philosophy in what you do?
Absolutely. We have actually eliminated quite a few positions in the central office to make us leaner, and also to make us more focused on in the classroom. Resources have to be in the classroom. As support for our teachers and staff, we're going to be in the schools when school starts. But yes, we have to be focused and understand that the most important thing in this school system is our teachers in our classroom, our leaders on our campuses, because that's where it happens. And to protect the learning environment in the classroom, we have to make sure that our teachers are honored in that classroom, our students are recognized for doing good things without disruption. That's really critically important.
That is great. Now, if folks want to interact and get in touch with the school system, they know how to get hold of the teacher. Do you have like a central website or a central clearinghouse?
Yes, EBRschools.org they can go to. I encourage parents right now to make sure you know where your child's going to go to school. You've made sure that they are scheduled in that school. The first day of school is August 6th. I want them to hit the ground running. I don't want them to come into a school saying, do I go to school here? I want them to say, here's your book, here's your stuff, get ready to go. August 6th, we're going to begin school and begin learning on that day.
Right. Good luck with the job.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you for being with us. We'll see you soon.
Appreciate it.
We're going to show you a feature of some of the folks that make Cox 4 possible. You know about Peak Performance Physical Therapy. They have another office called the Peak Pelvic Floor Clinic for Special Needs. Here's a feature. Take a look.
Pelvic floor therapy is something that lots of people don't know about. or know that they can get help for. It's a very sensitive subject. People don't really like to talk about it around here, about bladder dysfunction, bowel dysfunction, or any kind of pelvic pain. But it's very common for women, especially after having babies or in the menopausal years. So having a place like this is a very comfortable place for them to come so that they can get treatment for their pelvic muscle dysfunction, and we can really work to eliminate the bladder and bowel symptoms. So at the initial evaluation, we sit and talk where the patient tells me their symptoms, I get a good medical history on the patient, and then I explain to them the function of the pelvic muscles related to their bladder or bowel dysfunction. When we come into the treatment room, we use the biofeedback technology to get a muscle reading. We watch it on the computer screen. The patient watches it with me. We analyze the muscle strength. I show the patient, this is what your strength looks like, this is what we're looking for. We also look at resting pelvic muscle tone, endurance, coordination, and we do this each time the patient comes to therapy. When they go home, they do not have the technology, obviously, but they have homework that they practice. And then once they come back, we check and compare from session to session to make sure that we're giving the right exercises and that we're improving strength from as the weeks go on.
It was a friend of Lacey's, Lauren, and she was my physical therapist. And so we discussed, I was telling her about some issues that I had, and she told me about Lacey. And I said, you know, I'd really like to try that. And she told me a little bit about it, and I had some issues that I thought Lacey would be able to help me with. And consequently, that's exactly what happened. She was able to help me with a lot of things that had been on my mind and I'd been worried about. Because I have frequent things to happen to me, and I didn't want to have surgery, in other words. And so throughout this sessions that we've had, it's all worked. It's been very beneficial.
Strengthening is, I would say, only about 50% of what goes on here, though. The other 50% is education. I think it's extremely important to educate the patient on how the bladder and how the pelvic muscles work together so that you can use those muscles to retrain and to eliminate the symptoms.
She gives me a lot of information that I can use at home. Everything we go through, she gives me papers that have the instructions for things that I can do at home, the exercises I can do at home, and which is really beneficial to me.
Patients really feel so much better about themselves after coming to therapy. I have lots of patients who will come in and say, I can't go anywhere without going straight to a restroom. And then they'll a few weeks later come back and say, I went to eat dinner and I didn't even have to go to the restroom the whole time I was there. That's huge.
I'm at the end of my sessions now, and everything she got me up to exactly where she wanted me to be, the percentage-wise. And so I'm good to go. I can graduate now, and that's what I'm gonna do.
As an occupational therapist, it's a very rewarding feeling to know that you've changed someone's quality of life. And that's really what it's all about. We look at the computer a lot when we're doing our exercises, and everyone says, what number do I have to, how strong do I have to be to get rid of my symptoms? And there's no set number. There's no set, if you contract your muscles and squeeze to 20 millivolts, you won't leak anymore. It's different for every single patient. It's specific to each individual. And when people are very dedicated to exercising and to and making the changes that are necessary, they see huge impacts. Their results are amazing, and they tell everybody they know now. They talk about it all the time because they feel like everybody needs to know about this place, and you've got to come to therapy. It helped me so much. For more information, you can look us up at peakphysicaltherapy.com or call us at 225-292-2526. The Peak Pelvic Floor Clinic is located on Jefferson Highway in between Bluebonnet and Airline. I really thought that this Bluebonnet Jefferson area was a great place to be to accommodate patients coming from all parts of Baton Rouge. If you come and see us at the Peak Pelvic Floor Clinic, I promise to help improve your quality of life, make you feel comfortable, and help get your life back.
We've very much appreciate the folks over at bringing this programming here to Coxsworth. We're going to step away. When we come back, we're going to talk to Jennifer Mayer from CASA.